before we get too deep into that, I want to interrogate this thing that Keegan had said. Keegan said that he doesn't believe that if you're homosexual that you should have rights to adopt, and I'm just kind of curious, like, why would you, like, what is your reason for that?
Yeah, I think that number one is if they were adopting like older kids in the foster care system, I maybe could be like, hey, maybe I don't think it's ethical, but like those kids are better off probably in a gay household than foster care, right? But what actually is tend to happen is that they have, and they get priority over heterosexual parents for newborn adoption, and we don't have a problem in America. We don't have a problem with newborns being adopted. So I don't believe that newborns. I think newborns have the right to a heterosexual household. Maybe I would almost say that like maybe I would be okay with it if we gave priority to heterosexual couples first, and if there's any newborns left, then they could maybe. But again, I also think that like number one is I think you have a right to a heterosexual couple because a father and a mother. And also I have the same opinion for single parents. Single parents shouldn't adopt either. Shouldn't be allowed to adopt either. But like I've as a parent myself, I've read a lot of parenting books, and they've done so many studies of how fathers and mothers parent completely differently. Fathers are much more risk takers. They do actually rough and tumble play, as they call it, and they allow.
Are you talking about Jordan Peterson's take on this?
No, not Jordan. This is a book.
Because that's the exact term that he refers to when he talks about this.
Well, he must be reading off the study. It's a study done in 2021, which it's called the RTP study, which is called the Rough and Tumble Physical Play Study, which I'm guessing I bet he's just referring to. Which I bet a lot of parenting books refer to it because it is supposed to share what a father should do and what a mother should do. But they've done studies on like how fathers are much more risk takers, right? They allow their children to really experiment what they're able to do with their bodies as children, while mothers tend to be much more compassionate. They tend to teach their children about emotional awareness. Actually, they show that communication styles, when a mother teaches their kids majority of the communication styles for the first 12 months, they tend to have much better communication styles than if the father taught the child for the first 12 months. Right? So I think that these things, I mean, biologically, we were made to have children heterosexually, and I think that there's also biologically a course of how those children are supposed to be raised biologically. If we change that course just because of preference, it's just not what I agree with. I think it's another.
Well, but you didn't. You gave me a lot of information, but you didn't answer the question. Like, what is your reasoning for why you think this is bad? I mean,
they don't make good parents. They can't be good parents because
they can't be.
They're not opposite sex. They only can bring one aspect of parenting to the child. Is my point.
Can I ask?
If two fathers.
You can ask a question, but it better be on this particular thread.
Exactly on this. That he says they will only see one type of parent. Well, does that mean we're gonna like ban people, single parents? Because if you're raised by a single parent, you're only seeing one type of parenting too. If one of your parents die, it's the same thing. You only see one type of parent.
Yeah. As I stated before, number one is, again, this is about adoption. This is about the choice to put a child into a home that isn't, again, the natural way of having a child, which is through a heterosexual couple. So if a single parent wanted to adopt, I can't make people not divorce or widow happen. I can't determine that. But what we can determine is when children get adopted and who they get adopted by. But a single parent shouldn't be.
We can't control. As a society, we can't control when heterosexual people that don't love each other decide to have sex. A pregnancy occurs, a child is born, and then you have two people that may or may not be in a relationship, and then so now you have like a single mother. You could have a father that doesn't want to be involved. I would make the argument. This is the very, very minimum argument that